Allie. Join me as I show you how to make this spinning wheel necklace. You can do it as a pair of earrings or even as a bracelet. It uses some SuperDuos to hold in some crystals. If you need supplies and the full list, look below the video in the description, hit that little show more button, and you'll get all the details. Gather up your supplies and let's get started. So for the spinning wheel bracelet, what we're going to be doing is creating these little nested cabs. They don't have to be turned into a bracelet. You can simply use them if you want to make pairs of earrings or to add to necklaces. And you can even make them more simplistic and do them a little bit smaller with a pair of earrings as well too. So how are we going to get started? We need to make our bezel for our crystal. And we are going to be using for our crystals some of the 18mm Rivolis. So generally speaking, Rivolis are going to come in even numbers. This one we're using 18s. We're going to start off with 8. So the number here is kind of 8 along with it, an 18. 8 of our SuperDuo beads with an 11-0 between each. This is going to be the base at which our bezel sits. We're going to tie this into a loop and tie again into the knot. This is the very back of our spinning wheel Rivoli setting. Now we're going to go from basically 1 layer of SuperDuos to 2 layers. So we're going to take our thread and needle, go through the first SuperDuo after the knot, and then climb up to the second hole of that same SuperDuo, turning your thread from one direction and going into the other one. From here, we're going to go around and add in 2 of our SuperDuos between each one of the SuperDuos that's already there. So grabbing onto the second hole of all of those initial 8 SuperDuos, you're going to go the whole way around this circle, adding in 2 more of each of your SuperDuos. When you're doing it, just kind of make sure that the SuperDuos are facing towards the top and that also those holes are open for the second one. You always want to make sure, no matter what bead you're using, that if it has more than 1 hole, to check the holes before you get started, especially in a project where you're not coming back to that same bead for a while. I'm going to go around and add this second layer the whole way here, just kind of moving them around, making sure they sit to the top. If they're sitting to the bottom a little bit, what can happen sometimes is it can get a little bit of cupped action. We want this to sit a tiny bit cupped because we are going to be putting that Rivoli in, but not too much that it's like a bowl. I just want it kind of like a plate with edges. Going in here then, as we get our last one started, you're going to go through your SuperDuos that you added on the first round here and lock them in place, and then see how you have that nice little almost wreath of your SuperDuo beads. From here, we are going to go around and add in some seed beads between the opening V's at the top. So see how we did this almost in a herringbone style, that we have 2 SuperDuos that are open next to one another? We're going to add into there an 11 of our silver color, 11 of our secondary color, and 11 of our silver. So my secondary color here, is a nice cranberry gold luster, kind of matching into the bead. So we're going to step up from the first hole to the second hole of row 2 here of our SuperDuos. Give a nice tight pull, and then in between those SuperDuos, group of 3 beads and into the next. We're going to go straight through then to the next set of 2. Separating that out, your 3 11s, straight over through the next 2. That gets your seed beads between that we're going to use to create the edges that come up around our spinning wheel crystal. Go ahead and go the whole way around, adding in 6 more sets of your 3 seed beads. Want to learn how to become a jewelry making expert? With PotomacBeads jewelry making kits, you can create unique and customized bracelets, earrings, necklaces, and pendants. Every kit uses only premium materials and is hand-packed in the USA. Whether you're new or you've been crafting for years, these kits provide an immersive experience, allowing you to create beautiful projects with ease. Visit PotomacBeads.com/kits today or click on the link in the description below. Once you get the last of the seed beads in place here on the exterior, you're going to want your thread and needle to come out through the 11-0 of the alternate color. And here's what I said. Remember, it's kind of like a little bit almost like a fruit bowl rather than a full-on rounded bowl. I want you to go 1, 2, and 3 11-0 seed beads. Those 3 11-0 seed beads are going to be followed by 1, maybe if they jump, 2, 3, 4 of your 15-0 seed beads. Then we're going to do 1, 2, and 3 11-0s. From here, we are going to sew into our next 11-0. Now, what this is going to do is actually create kind of a right angle weave. So see how it creates that little almost handle for your basket. I want you to go back up through beads 1, 2, and 3 of your silver 11-0s, not through the 4 15s. You're going to add 4 more 15s, 3 more 11s, and then we're going to go over to the next 11-0 seed bead. From here, we're going to go through the 11-0, and then we're going to go back up through our 3 silver 11s. This is going to start pulling towards the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Go into the next and back up through those 3. So you can see the effect that you're getting, which is that little netting that's going around. That then we're going to connect to the center. So you can see it's going to start to move in towards the interior. Go ahead the whole way around now and continue linking on your 4 15s, your 3 11s, into the next 11-0 seed bead, back up through those 3. Nice tight pull and continue. As we get back to the start, we're going to grab onto the 3 that are already there. As we go in now and create our last loop, we want to make sure that our Rivoli sits inside correctly. So you can't make your last loop before you put your Rivoli in. Otherwise, it's going to get stuck. So now your Rivoli is in place. You can see almost that little basket weave going on. I'm coming out of my last group of 3 seed beads there. I have my 4 11s on and I'm going, or sorry, my 4 15s on, and I'm going to go down through the 11-0s that were put on first. So that first row we did. We're going to go through the 11 that's below it, making sure that when you go through, you're going through from this right side over towards the left, so it sits correctly. Give a nice tight pull. And I take my fingers and kind of move that Rivoli around a little bit so I don't have a ton of extra thread showing. Take your needle and thread back up through those 3 11-0 seed beads. Nice tight pull. And now we're going to go the whole way around through all the 15s. As you go around through the 15s, when you are above the row of 11s, after the group of 4 here, there's a little opening. Grab another 15 and go through the next 5 15s. Above the 11s, grab another 15, go through the next ones. And that's all. So we're going to go the whole way around, adding in our 15s and completing that circle. Once this circle is completed, I want you to take your thread and needle and go through and around the circle 1 more time. So you have 2 pieces of thread that are connecting all of those seed beads, not adding in any extra seed beads after you get around this first row here, just taking your needle and thread through them all to close up this Rivoli bezel. From here, then I'm going to show you how to go in and connect. I find that I make the best Rivoli bezels here that are started from the bottom. You can, if you want to, as you go through your bracelet design, make them in a continuous line, but it gets a little complicated going from the bottom to the top. I usually don't like going in and creating independent units, but in this one, I just found that my little basket here, and my Rivoli just has a better effect. You can see I'm starting to go around now that second time. What I am going to do while I have needle and thread on is I'm going to create my next connection point. Then I will leave some thread there and we'll tie it on as we go. So going around here, another loop, and then we're going to get down so we can decorate our outer edge. The last thing we're going to do is add 3 seed beads that go in between those SuperDuos, kind of reinforcing as well. So after you go around and complete this loop, I want you to bring your thread and needle down to the base line. So just one more here to go around. All the way through. And once you're around that loop one entire time, and if your loop seems big or your crystal size is just slightly different, you can skip adding that 15-0 and just sew through only the 4 15s if you want. Once you're out through the 11 that sits, or the 15 that sits above the 11s there, I want you to take your needle and thread, come down the piece, down through the 11s there, through the 11-0 seed bead in the cranberry color, straight through the SuperDuos after the 11-0. And now here's where we're going to add just another little picot trim of our cranberry beads. So 1, 2, and 3 of our cranberry 11s, and on to the next section where those 3 seed beads sit. See from the front there, you just get that little tiny cranberry. Continue on 3 beads into the next section. This also helps to reinforce that little bowl bezel that we're working on. Continue on adding your 3 seed beads to the outer edge. All right, here we are now, and we're coming back to those first 3 cranberry beads that we put on the outer edge. Flipping over, you can see again just that nice little hint of cranberry that you see on the outer edge. I want to come out through bead number 2 of that first cranberry grouping of 3, and that's where we're going to do our connection points. So our connection points are going to consist of some, you can see mine kind of here in portions and pieces because we have to add them together. I'm using an 8mm one of the Mermaid Glass Beads, and we're going to decorate the outside of it with some SuperDuos. So you want your SuperDuos handy and your seed beads. The first thing we're going to do is connect our center bead here, and our center bead is going to be connected with, coming out of that bead there, a 15-0. Then we're going to add our mirrored round here and that mirrored mermaid glass. Then you're going to add a 15, 11, 15. And I'm doing the 11 in that cranberry color. Coming back down then through the mermaid glass. Nice tight pull, add a 15. And sew into the 11-0 that your thread was currently coming out of, making sure that you're sewing into, the opposite side. What that's going to do is make sure that your 15-0s there sit nicely on them. We're coming out that 11-0 here, and what we're going to do is we are going to add some beads that are going to sit along the side, which is our, our SuperDuo beads. So 1 and 2 15s, along with 1 of my alternate color of my 11-0s, and we're going to repeat that so we have 3 of our SuperDuos. 1 more 11 in the cranberry color, 2 15s, go to the opposite side here and sew into the 11-0 on the other side. And see how that puts those beads right along the exterior. Same thing here, 1 and 2 15s, 1 of my cranberry, followed by 3 SuperDuos with a cranberry in between each. So you've got your 4 cranberry beads, your 3 SuperDuos, 2 more 15s, and into that 11 connection point at the base bottom. That decorates our SuperDuos on the exterior. Now, obviously, the SuperDuos have a second hole. So what we're going to do is connect the second hole with our seed beads as well to that same kind of connection point. So you're going to go through the 2 15s that sit along the side that you added, 1 and 2 15s. Nice tight pull. You don't want any extra thread showing. Add an 11 and a 15 and sew up into the second hole of the SuperDuo. That pulls those SuperDuos open just the tiniest little bit. We are going to add 1, 2, and 3 more 11s into the second hole of the next SuperDuo. 1, 2, 3 11s into the second hole of the third SuperDuo. Coming out that second hole of the third SuperDuo, you're going to add a 15 and an 11, and you're going to sew straight through your 11 and your 2 15s that sit on either side. So straight through from one side to the other. Nice tight pull, and now repeat. 11, 15 through your second hole of your SuperDuo. 3 11s. And you can change up the color if you want more silver. You can certainly do so. 3 more through the second hole of the next SuperDuo, just like we've been doing. I'm trying to kind of hold it in the middle so you can see it, but it's a little bit awkward to hold. And then here when you get down to the bottom, 15, 11, straight on through to the 15s and to the 11 at the bottom there and out. And that's it. Now, starting my bracelet, I think it's the easiest idea while you have this thread and needle to do the same thing on the opposite side. That's what I did here to do my connection point, is I started 2 with 1 on each side. I'm going to go back and add my clasp then on this side. And then the next one I did, I connected to that one that's already finished. If you have your plain piece here, this is also a great earring that you can wear, and even put another one if you want to of your beads right along the top for a statement. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to take my needle and thread. You can put on your clasp here if you want, but I'm going to go to the opposite side of my piece. So I'm through my 11. I'm going to go through the 11 on the side. I'm just going to ride this thread the whole way back along the outer edge through the 11s to get to the opposite side. Once I get to the opposite side, I'll do the exact same thing and then tie off the thread end. So basically I have a set here. I have this link with my 1 Rivoli in the middle and my 2 Mermaid Glass Beads on either end and either side. One I can attach the clasp to, and the other one I can attach my next Rivoli to as I continue in on the design. So clasp, seed bead, and needle come out to here. You do that same portion to add your next one of your mermaid glass onto the opposite side. Just to show you too, after you do your second one, as you connect to your third, you want to make sure as you're going around and doing your seed beads here on the outer edge of your connection piece here of that little kind of merry-go-round, you're going to want to make sure that that third, or those 3 beads that you do on your final go-around, that third bead or that second bead that sits in the middle connects to the bead that sits with your connection point. From there, then you can continue on, get to the other side, tie it off, add your next end. So it's kind of in pieces, and then you can add on and connect them all as you're working on them. You can see here as I'm going around the outer edge, I'm adding a little bit of a reinforcement. I have strings everywhere, as you can see. That's fine. I'll go in and I will burn those down. They're already all knotted off anyway, and do that towards the back of the project. I'm going to weave my thread and needle through to the end here in order to do my last link and add my clasp. So before I put my clasp on it, which I have this Clasp Garden magnetic pearl strand clasp, which is a nice aqua color here, and I want to bloom that. I wanted to show it to you in this form because I thought it was a beautiful necklace. As I'm working with it, I think, oh man, maybe I should change this bracelet into a necklace. You have all the building blocks to keep going, to create more, or even just use, like I'm showing you here, kind of the mermaid glass in the back of the piece as its own design, having the focus be towards the front. And look how pretty that looks using that along the back. Whether or not you make it a necklace or a bracelet, it's gorgeous either way, going up the back and continuing on. I'm 50-50. I feel like I should make a matching set, but also putting that idea in to do the necklace as well. Just to show, I decided to do the whole bracelet turned into a necklace thing. So I can go in and I can shorten it if I want to. I just took thread, did a seed bead along with one of the beads. When I got up to the top here, I did a seed bead through the clasp, back down here, back up again, back down again, tied off the knot, and that's it. Super simple to connect to those connection points, which we already did as we did the design. It's a really fun pattern, and I can't wait to see all of your different versions. Thanks so much for joining me in making this spinning wheel necklace. It's fun to make it as a necklace or a pair of earrings and really learn how to make all those components, and then you can add them together however you want. Remember, if you do need supplies, look below the video in the description. It'll get links there back for you to our website so you can gather everything up. As always, hit that little subscribe button and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.